With that said, we good tonight, Ms. Carlene?
Yes, sir, we
Okay.
are.
Item A, approval of minutes. Number one, I'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes of the March 28, 2023 regular session that would defer from the April 11, 2023 Lafourche Parish Council meeting. So moved by Councilman Jones, second by Councilman Adams. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes with 8 yeas, 0 nays. I'm not gonna say one absence because he's in the building, but Councilman Grow has currently stepped out of the chambers. Good enough, Ms. Carlene?
Yes, sir.
Item two, now we entertain a motion to accept the minutes of the April 11, 2023 regular session. So moved by Councilwoman Chesson, second by Councilman Adams. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 8 yeas, 0 nays, and one currently outside of the chambers, that being Councilman Grow. Item B, we have no state and or federal legislative updates, I'm assuming, because I see no state and or federal legislators in the audience. And item C, Lafourche Parish Outstanding Senators, we have none. Item D, Certificate of Recognition. Number 3, Parish President Archie Chesson to present a certificate of recognition to Celeste Robichaud for her representation of the Bayou region. Mr. President, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Celeste Robichaud grew up on the Bayou in the St. Charles community and now resides in the New Orleans area. And like many others, Mardi Gras is her favorite time of year. Celeste has been a member of the Dames de Perlage for 6 years and has a group of ladies bringing awareness to the dying art of perlage or beadwork by reveling through New Orleans during carnival season and for special nonprofit events in their beautiful hand-beaded outfits. Each year they pick a new theme, and this year's theme was Make Mardi Gras Happen, honoring the numerous crews throughout the area. Celeste, being from the Bayou, chose to represent the area and the crews that reveled our streets during carnival season, and we would like to acknowledge her hard work and craftsmanship that she put into her costume. Now, therefore, I, Archie Chesson, President of Lafourche, do hereby recognize Ms. Celeste Robichaud for her representation of Lafourche Parish in the Bayou region for her Mardi Gras costume. And I'll say before Celeste comes up, I want to thank Ms. Carlene because she somehow got a picture of Celeste and sent this up to her. And when we got it, we realized not only the amount of work that went into that, but just how awesome it is for her to pick Lafourche and walk around the streets of New Orleans during carnival season. So Celeste, congratulations.
Wonderful.
Wonderful. Thank you for coming in that costume tonight.
Great job, Celeste.
Awesome. Okay, item E, proclamations. Number 4, Parish President Archie Chesson to present a proclamation proclaiming the week of April 23rd through 29th, 2023 as Crime Victims' Rights Week. Mr. President, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Whereas the term victim is more than just a label and has legal standing and protections that go along with it, and whereas Crime Victims' Rights Acts passed here in Louisiana at the federal level guarantee victims the right to meaningful participation in the criminal justice process. And whereas including and elevating the voices of victims makes certain they are heard and creates a path to foregoing and sustaining community trust. And whereas victim service providers, advocates, law enforcement officers, attorneys, and other allied professionals can advocate and help survivors find justice by enforcing their rights. Whereas victim service providers and allied professionals can increase access to victim services and compensation in areas that have been historically underserved, marginalized, and adversely affected by inequity in implementing culturally responsive services. And whereas equity and inclusion are fundamental prerequisites to survivor care and survivor-led services that provide victims the opportunities to share their experiences and essential blueprints for support. And whereas National Crime Victims' Rights Week provides an opportunity to recommit in ensuring accessible, appropriate, and trauma-informed services that are offered to all victims of crime. And whereas Lafourche Parish is hereby dedicated to helping crime survivors obtain justice by enforcing victims' rights, expanding access to services, and ensuring an equity and inclusion for all. Now, therefore, I, Archie Chesson, Parish President of Lafourche, do hereby proclaim the week of April 23rd to the 29th, 2023 as Crime Victims' Rights Week. And I think we have Ms. Geraldine Petrie, Ms. Heidi Irwin, Ms. Marley Pearson, Ms. Elizabeth LeBlanc here to accept the proclamation, and Ms. Leslie Richard.
You just have to check, make sure the mic is on, and then state your name and address for the record, please.
My work address?
That's fine,
Okay.
that's fine.
Yes, Heidi Irwin, 103 Moron Street, Thibodaux, Louisiana, 70301. On behalf of our office and the Victims Department, I'd like to thank President Chasson and also the council. As far as the work that we do, there are a lot of people who stand alongside of us, many advocates within the community. When I look at this week, basically for me, it's a recommitment to victims of crime and their families as they continue on through the pursuit of the justice system. Thank you so much.
Very good, thank you. Item 5, Parish President Archie Chasson to present a proclamation proclaiming the month of April 2023 as Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Mr. President, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sexual assault at its core is a devastating abuse of power, one that affects people of every age, race, sex, gender, identity, sexual orientation, national origin, socioeconomic background, and religion. It is a responsibility of each of us to stand up and speak out against it. It is not only to improve the laws and services available to survivors, but also change the culture and attitudes that allow sexual assault to proliferate. Whereas every 68 seconds an American is sexually assaulted, and every 9 minutes that victim is a child. And whereas 9 out of every 10 victims of rape are female. And whereas 94% of all women who are raped experience symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder during the 2 weeks following, and 30% of women report symptoms of PTSD 9 months after the rape. And whereas 33% of women who are raped contemplate suicide, and 13% of women who are raped attempt suicide. And whereas out of every 100 rapes, 40 are reported, 10 lead to an arrest, 8 are prosecuted, 4 lead to a conviction, and 3 rapists will spend a day in prison, and 97 rapists will walk free. And whereas in the year 2022, the Haven answered 165 hotline sexual violence crisis calls and served 102 primary survivors of sexual violence with 181 individual therapy sessions, 73 group sessions, and 69 survivors receiving medical advocacy. And whereas victims should have support and find compassion, comfort, and healing they need, and sexual predators should be punished to the full extent of the law. While important partnerships have been formed among the criminal justice agencies, allied professionals, and victim services to assist victims of sexual violence and their families. And whereas it is important to recognize the compassion and dedication of all the individuals who provide services to victims of sexual violence, to work to increase public awareness of sexual violence and its prevalence, and to eliminate it through prevention and education. And whereas our parish has a moral obligation to work to the prevention of sexual assaults and the severe trauma it causes to those who are affected. Now, therefore, I, Archie Chasson, Parish President Lafourche, do hereby proclaim April 2023 as Sexual Assault Awareness Month. And I think we have some folks from the Haven here to accept the proclamation, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. Item 6, Parish President Archie Chasson to present a proclamation proclaiming May 5th, 2023 as Paint the Parish Purple Day to promote cancer awareness. Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Whereas Paint the Parish Purple is an activity of the American Cancer Society that promotes cancer awareness and gives individuals and community an opportunity to fight back against cancer. And whereas Lafourche Parish is joining other communities worldwide to host the American Cancer Society's Relay for Life that supports their mission of saving lives and creating a world with less cancer, and celebrating more birthdays by helping people stay well, get well, and by funding groundbreaking research and fighting back. And whereas the American Cancer Society funded more than $150 million in cancer research last year through money raised in communities across the United States. Now, therefore, I, Archie Chasson, Parish President Lafourche, do hereby proclaim May 5th as Paint the Parish Purple Day, and this marks the official kickoff for Relay for Life in the parish. And in doing so, I urge citizens to celebrate cancer survivorship, remember loved ones lost to the disease, and honor caregivers and join Lafourche Parish's fight against cancer. Only together will we find the cure. I think we have Ms. May Hitt and Ms. Mindy Baroni and Ms. Gannell here to take the proclamation.
say her name. I recognize her. Forward.
Ms. Ganell, if you don't mind, just state your name and address for the record.
Gaynell Dufresne at 349 St. Peter Street. I'm chairperson of the Relay for Life Lafourche this year. I'd like to thank the parish president and the council for proclaiming Paint the Parish Purple Day. It's one of our fundraisers held by the Lafourche Parish School System. I'd also like to invite everyone out to our event, which is June 10th from 4 to 9. We'll have, we start at 4 o'clock. Any survivors will register starting at 4 o'clock. We'll have a live auction at 6. We'll do a survivors walk with caretakers and family at 7. And at 8:30, we'll do the luminary show, you know, the luminary bags lit with the playing of the Amazing Grace. And we also have a slideshow of all those that in memory of and in honor of. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you very much. Okay, item F, presentations and or updates. Number 7, Mr. Barry Lede, Fire Protection District 7, to give an annual report. Barry, you have the floor, sir.
Barry Lede, 210 Rue Grand Chien, Thibodaux, Louisiana. I'm the treasurer for Fire District 7, which includes 308 Fire Department. We had a beginning balance in 21 for $46,254.44. Ad valorem tax collected $109,365.85. Insurance rebate $12,978.75. Total income $168,599.04. We had expenses of $118,78 with a balance of $60,580.26. Capital improvement accounts, which we use for future equipment and any emergencies, we have $400,579.92. 308 received $54,000 in grants during the year for to buy equipment and radios. We've done all the paperwork for the rating. We're waiting on PIL to come out and rate the fire department, which we are currently Class 4. We're getting ready to install a backup repeater at the station, and we completed all our audits, and we sent all our reports to the parish. Any questions?
Anybody got any questions for Barry? Go ahead, Bo.
I just wanted to thank you, Mr. Barry. I appreciate all y'all do for us down there, and I know it's a lot of things that are not seen that y'all do, and thank y'all for that.
Thank you.
You got it, Barry. Thank you, partner.
Right.
Item G, legal advisor report. We have none. Item H, engineers and or architects reports.
Joe Picciolo with Picciolo and Associates, 115 Picciolo Parkway and Cutoff. On the Airport Connector Road and Bridge, this is the bridge down in Galliano. It connects LE 308 and the airport at LE 3235. The contractor is Sea Level Construction. They're continuing to work on forming up the bridge sections. They're scheduled to pour the 2 main towers on the 308 side concrete this week, and then they're going to move to the other side and start working on pouring the towers for the LA1 side. They're also continually working on doing roadway work and drainage work on the corridor between LA1 and 3235, and they've also installed that sound wall that protects the residents from the highway on the south side of the project. The slated completion date of this project is sometime next summer, in summer of 2024. And the next project I have is Nolan Toops Outfall Drainage. This project includes cleaning existing outfall canals and culverts in the old Ocoka property, going all the way to the back to the Al Robichaud pump station. The parish is doing this work in-house, and we're providing survey work and support work to get this work done. The Golden Meadow Boat Launch and Fishing Pier Project. So we accepted bids on March 1st to do the two main wharfs coming off the launch, and also to reset the slope of the launch so that you don't get your feet wet when you're trying to launch your boat when the tides are a little high. The low bidder was Outer Limit Contractors in the amount of $142,412. We had a pre-construction meeting with him. He's ready to start, but we're going to hold off his start until May the 15th, which coincides 2 weeks after the opening of the shrimp season. Then the launch is going to have to be closed for 2 months solid while he does this work. So we'll coordinate with the parish as to exactly what day he comes in, but the plan right now is for him to close the launch on May the 15th. The next project we have is Road Sales Tax District 2. That was a road priority list from 2020. That project is completed and in the lien period. We're just waiting to pay out the contractor. Hurricane Ida storm damage repairs to the parish bridges. This was repairs to the Galliana Pontoon Bridge, the Cutoff Lift Bridge, the Cote Blanche Bridge, the T-Bois Lift Bridge, and the Racing Lift Bridge. The contractor is Sea Level Construction. All the work is complete on the Cote Blanche Bridge. The remaining bridges mainly include like electrical items and miscellaneous traffic signs and whatnot like that. We're hoping that he finishes this up in the next month or two. Hurricane Ida storm damage repairs to the pump stations. So this one's for Twin Oaks and Rita Pump Station. We accepted bids on March the 7th for the Twin Oaks Pump Station repairs. Norris and Boudreaux Contractors was the low bidder in the amount of $202,595. So we held a pre-construction meeting with them today. There's some work to be going on at the Butch Hill Pump Station, replacing the bridge over the discharge pipe. So we're going to give them a notice to proceed to coincide when that bridge is repaired. We'll have him ordering all the material to make the repairs, going through submittals, going through reviews. In the meantime, we're being told by the North Lafourche Levy District that those repairs will be complete sometime in the middle of June, and then he'll be ready to move on site and start that work. On the Rita Pump Station, we did the saw borings, and we're starting to work on the project plans and permitting. And then road priority road list 2022, that's for reconstruction and incidental drainage for roads in Council District 7, 8, and 9. We have a contract with the parish. We've done preliminary list of streets and gave cost estimates to the administration, and we'll begin work surveying fairly soon. Hurricane Ida storm damage repairs to the Leeville boat launch. We had done some temporary repairs last year to get the launch up and running. This is to complete the repairs to get it back to where it was before the storm. We have all the permits. We are currently advertising for bids, and we will be accepting bids for the construction on March the 24th. So hopefully this summer we'll start that project. Any questions?
Anyone got any questions? Daniel?
Yeah, Joe, are they on schedule with that bridge at the airport, or are they running on schedule, behind schedule, or what?
I would say they on schedule right now. We've asked them recently to give us an updated schedule to see where they're at. There's some real stringent requirements with FHWA and DOTD, or the state, to get this done on time. But we're going to work with them on that in the next couple of months to make sure that they're on schedule.
Because I think there's some things that are hard to get. They probably coming in longer than with the anticipated supplies or whatever.
Well, the thing that drives the schedule is the mechanical equipment for the bridge, the winches and everything that pulls up the lift span. So that's what we're mostly concerned about at this time. The other work seems to be going really well.
Yes, and you're saying that the Golden Meadow boat launch is going to be shut down for about a month, so there's no way we could keep it open to get it fixed.
2 months.
So,
That's right.
or 2 months?
2 months.
Well, we might speed it up and make it a month. You never know. But I mean, it's gonna get fixed finally, so regardless of if it takes 2 months, it's 2 months.
The contractor understands, I mean, he's a local contractor, and he understands the importance of that boat launch, so he is gonna try to get it done as quickly as possible. But right now, we're slated for 2 months.
Right.
But, I mean, you have to close it sometime, and as much as that boat launch is used, I think no time is a good time to shut it down.
No, right. But I mean, if you're gonna fix it right.
That's correct.
I mean, they got, everything's a mess, and then when it's finished, they're all gonna love it. And we got a Leeville boat launch that they're gonna just have to use and go to that one. What's on that one? And the next thing is that road sales tax 2 priority list. Is that a new list that they're coming out with? Because I don't know when this thing's gonna take effect about combining all this stuff. And we need to find out, I need to find out how much money we got in the bank in that road sales tax 2. Because whatever's in there can only be spent in 7, 8, and 9. When they do the new thing, I don't know when they're gonna do it, how that works. But that money needs to stay there, and I'm gonna put a request to the clerk. I want to see exactly how much money we got left in there before it turns over.
The street list that we got, what we were working on is a new list of streets, but I can let the
Right.
administration talk about how the taxing district's gonna work.
Mr.
now.
President?
Mr. Chairman, yeah, so you guys probably 3 or 4 meetings ago approved a new contract with Joe and David Waits to do either district. If you check your inboxes, I think we sent it out yesterday. Renita's here tonight to do the monthly financial report based upon the agreed upon procedures. But if you check your email, road sales tax 2 is in there. She may know the number off the top of her head, but we can give it to you before you leave. But yeah, those monies still have to be spent in those districts. When the sales taxes swap in October, anything we collect from October of 2023 beyond is going to be the new consolidated district.
So that would have been my question, Archie, right? It doesn't take effect now, it don't take effect till October?
That's right.
So everything that's coming in now, March, April, May, whatever, stays in there until October?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm just gonna keep a good eye on it. Thank you.
I don't look good in red, and I ain't going to jail, especially for you, Mr.
No, I'm
Lorraine.
not
That
asking
money
you to
stay
go
where
to
it's supposed
jail.
be, believe me.
I'm not asking you to do anything wrong, I just wanna make sure it's done right.
All right, good, thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Any other engineers, architects? Item I, public wishing to address the council, public hearings, agenda items. Sarah, you have anything, Ms. Levine?
Yes, sir. Ms. Nancy Oden, if you come to the podium, state your name and address for the record. Ms. Oden, please remember you have 3 minutes.
Nancy Oden, 275 Donald Drive, Thibodeau, and I am the newest member of the Fifth Ward Gravity and Drainage Board. When I volunteered to serve on the board, I thought I would be overseeing expenditures to maintain successful drainage in the area where I live. However, since the news of the March election and its results, priorities have changed to delaying the demise of the Fifth Ward. There's been much concern over Proposition 2 that was passed by the entire parish, but actually failed in the Fifth Ward itself. It appears that millages from 3 smaller entities will be discontinued and rolled into the parish coffers. But that seems to be all the proposition does. Nothing in the proposition indicates what will happen to the board that manages the current dedicated funds on hand in Fifth Ward accounts. I am under the impression this council intends to dissolve the board sooner than later and absorb its assets and monies. I hope I am mistaken. I would hope the Fifth Ward Board and its employees would continue as is until the current monetary assets are depleted. If the parish council does choose to dissolve the board, what process is planned for the dedicated funds and assets to be absorbed, and what will happen to the employees? Will they be offered jobs with the parish? If so, will their Fifth Ward's benefits move with them? Comp time, vacation days, experience, seniority? Would their main areas of responsibility be the Fifth Ward area, or would they work wherever supervisors sent them? Will they have to be terminated by the Fifth Ward Board or the Parish Council? If the board is terminated, who will be responsible for their compensation? Over the years, the Fifth Ward has developed good working relationships with farmers over whose land good drainage depends. From 12 Cedars to Beaujolais, there are 6 subdivisions that drainage flows through 24 different landowners' properties that have been given the Fifth Ward right-of-ways across their land to help drainage. This can be extrapolated out to all 60-something miles of the drainage that the Fifth Ward currently maintains. Will these right-of-ways automatically roll over to the parish, or will they need to be renegotiated? All of these issues I have mentioned are just a few of the items that come to mind. I hope that the council will leave the Fifth Ward Drainage District in place at least until their current monies are depleted. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Bo?
So in line with this, which I agree with what you're saying, with what Mr. Lorraine had said about the monies down there in his drainage district as well as the road sales tax, what's the plan for that?
Mr. President?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So we've talked about this a bunch of times, right? The monies that are in the districts have to go into special funds, right? We're not going to be able to commingle monies that Fifth Ward has, or Drainage District Number 1 has, or the parish-wide drainage millage that was already in the books. They all have to go into separate accounts. So last week I met with Bill McKee, and I forget the other member of the board's name who came with him, and Mr. Brian Martz and Mr. Hillary to basically spell out the process, right? So we're going to start that process tonight where you guys have to canvass the results. It's something we do after every election that Ms. Carlene can attest to. It's just the procedure we have to do. Sometime in June, we are going to send you guys a set of ordinances that are going to begin to dissolve the districts, and they would basically go away at that point, right? Those monies would be set into separate accounts within finance. Renita is already, setting up those separate accounts. We've reached out to the auditors of both of the boards to figure out exactly what assets they have, what dollar amounts they have in place, so we know what we're about to accept. And then from the end of June, whenever that ordinance passes, the parish then manages the money. We had a meeting very early on in this scenario with the 2 employees of the drainage district, and I made it very clear in that meeting that they would be offered jobs here. We wanted them to come work here. We want their historic knowledge. They would get all of the same benefits that all of our employees get: retirement, our 457 program, our insurance, all the fun stuff that I don't think they have right now with the district. So all that stuff would carry over to them just as regular employees do here, as well as I think their pay is a great deal lower than what we pay our equipment operators, especially at a senior level. So the pay would increase for them guys as well if they're willing to come work here. So nothing is going to change with the overall administration of how drainage happens in this parish, other than you won't have board meetings once a month with 2 districts doing this, right? We won't have to worry about, the drainage district meeting and talking about, especially in District 1's case, right? We talked about 3 things at the last meeting. I think 2 of them were state issues and 1 of them was ours, and we went and took care of it for them. So, again, this is a very streamlining of the process.
So my question is this: you say, because according to what the voters had done, they had an election. It was a very low turnout. My question is, since she said that, we know that they voted themselves at millage years ago, and then it seems like they still want their millage. What happens if the council doesn't dissolve the district? Then what?
Then she's right. Then the board would continue to function as they function until the money runs out. But when the tax roll happens and when the tax roll comes out later this year, then the new consolidated millage begins to be collected. They're not going to collect their millage plus the new consolidated millage.
Okay.
So eventually, whatever the money, I don't know what money they have in the bank. I haven't seen their books yet. But whatever that money they have in the bank, if you guys do not dissolve the district, then those boards would continue to operate and spend that money until they spend it.
Because that's their money, correct? Now, let me ask you this.
It's the
Granted,
people's
it's
money,
parish
it's not their
money, but, they paid for it themselves. Lastly, my concern with this was that, just like in Mr. Lorraine's district, was that I don't get many calls. I never have from District 5, Drainage Board. I don't know about Mr. Lorraine with number 1, but I know that I do get calls from other areas because I thought they were doing a great job with what they had and what they were doing. Can the parish, with what we have, look, I know you're smiling, we went over this, but I just know sometimes you got so much equipment now.
But that's where I'm beginning to get irritated. But we've been talking about this for 8 months, and we're going to have the decision, and we're going to answer these or ask these questions again after the people have voted. I mean, we take care of some 3,000 miles of drainage and outfall canals, right? Do we have hiccups from time to time? Yeah, but absorbing 60 to 100 extra miles is not going to kill us, right? And I believe one of the guys said it at one of the open houses that he's been there for 8 years, and it took him 8 years to get from the top of the district to the bottom, right? And they were about to flip over and start from the top again. There's no reason that we can't absorb that. We can't absorb that in-house with the employees that we have.
Okay. Ma'am, do you have any more questions or answers, or you want to ask any more questions, or? Okay.
Mr. Lorraine?
Yeah, I think the difference between Drainage District 1 and Drainage District 5 is 5 had their own employees. Drainage District 1 had no employees. Drainage District 1, every time they bought equipment, they turned it over to the parish. In fact, if it wouldn't have been for that, we'd probably have hardly no equipment at all. But they always purchased the equipment. These people just bought a brand new excavator. That excavator can't get out that district. Cannot, even though once this is done, it still can't get out that district. It has to stay there. They have 3 employees. They hired a CPA to take care of the books, and they did what they had to do. And the sad part about all this is the people that created District 5 voted to create it, and then you put it up to a vote parish-wide, and people that didn't vote to create it is going to come in to decreate it. Doesn't make sense. I don't think that should have been done. That's not right, it's not fair, and it's wrong. I can tell you. It is dead wrong because you have 4 years left on that tax. Their tax was renewed in 2017 for 10 years, which went to 227. Our road tax was brought up in 207 for 20 years to 227, the same thing. We were 20, they were 10, but it falls on the same time to expire. So you're telling those people that voted for that tax, you actually recalled their vote, which is sad. That's a sad day. If you can do that, there's no tax that's passed in Lafourche Parish that's safe. Not one. Not one, because they can come and change it whenever they want. If they'd have dealt with it in 227, I could see, okay, we're going to do something different. We're going to put it up to a vote. But they took you and cut you 4 years. Since when people that didn't vote to create it is going to come back to vote to change it that don't even live there? Their tax failed in their district by a lot. Road sales tax 2 failed in Ward 10 by a little over 100 votes. But you know what passed it? Central Lafourche. Because they had a bargain. They had a half-cent sales tax reduction. We didn't. But all that is going to come back to haunt different councilmen up here and the administration, because when you're going to get the garbage on the water bill, you're going to see something. You're not going to have people that's going to be happy. But I can say this, and I'll say it publicly. What they did was wrong. Now, I understand 22% of the people voted for it, but don't forget, 84% of the people voted for it before the 22% and passed it for 20 years, not for 16. You cut them short on the time, and you cut them short by letting other people vote for something that they shouldn't have. And that's my opinion, and that's how I feel. And I'm telling you right now, if somebody takes it to court, they'll win. Take it to court, then you'll win.
All right, thank you, Ms. Lorraine. Any further discussion? Ms. Carleen, do you have anyone else? That's it? I'm sorry.
I got one.
But wait, so what are you saying, T-Boo? All right, well, yeah. All right, I have the gavel here. Mr. Terry Aber, you had more to follow up on that?
Mr. Chasson, you talked about the employees, and you kind of mentioned it a while ago too. that they're gonna receive the same benefits and everything else, are they gonna just make like a lateral move to the parish, or are they gonna have to go through civil service procedures?
So they're going to be civil service employees, but we're working with Sheila to figure out how to make it seamless, right? Where we can just absorb them in, because the districts are political subdivisions of the parish anyway. So they're,
Right.
in theory, already parish employees. It's just how do we absorb them into the civil service system?
Right.
They're probably going to have to fill out the application like everybody else, and they're going to have to work through, Sheila's system and go through the civil service process, but it's not going to be like an open job ad where we run an ad for an equipment operator 3, and if, Charlie and Mitch apply and you apply, then Charlie might, they might not get the job if you apply. That's not going to, we're just going to laterally absorb them in.
Well, I know exactly
Should
how
they choose to come work here.
I'm very familiar how civil service works, so that's why I asked you that, because I was kind of concerned about these guys, if they're going to just make a lateral move, or they're going to go through the civil service procedure and don't qualify, and then where they at with that job, so. All right, thank you.
Thank you. All right, here we go. Item J, public hearing and ordinances for ratification. I'll now entertain a motion to open public hearing. So moved by Mr. Jones, second by Mr. Araby. Any discussion? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 8 yeas, 0 nays, and one Councilmember Groves, still outside the chambers. Item 8, ordinance requesting a no dumping $500 fine sign be posted 80 feet from Highway 1 onto California Street on the right-hand side where it is visible to traffic headed down California Street, Thibodaux, Louisiana, Ward 3, District 4, Parish of Lafourche, State of Louisiana, installing a necessary no dumping $500 fine sign and providing penalties for the violations thereof. Moved by Mr. Melvin, second by Mr. Wendell. Would anyone from the public like to comment on item 8, ordinance number 8? Second call, anyone from the public? Last and final call, would anyone from the public like to comment on ordinance number 8? Anyone from the council? There being none, we'll move it to a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes 8 yeas, 0 nays, and Mr. Groves still temporarily out of the chambers. Item 9, ordinance amending ordinance number 6420 that approves Civic Source to publicly advertise and auction the educated property located at 126 West 80th Street, Cutoff, Louisiana, 70345. Assessment number 8101790810, due to non-payment of ad valorem property taxes, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Moved by Ms. Chestnut for the administration, second by Mr. Jones. Would anyone from the public like to comment on ordinance number 9? Second call, anyone from the public? Last and final call, anyone from the public like to comment on ordinance number 9? Anyone from the council? All in favor signify by saying aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes 8 yeas, 0 nays, and Mr. Groves still being outside chambers. Item 10, ordinance amending ordinance number 6421 that approves Civic Source to publicly advertise and auction the educated property located at or on East 96th Street, Galliano, Louisiana, 70354, assessment number 0102308010, due to non-payment of ad valorem property taxes, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Lorraine for the administration. Can I get a second? Second by Mr. Wendell. Anyone from the public would like to comment on ordinance number 10? Second call for public, ordinance 10. Last and final call, anyone from the public like to comment on ordinance number 10? Anyone from the council? There be none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 8 yeas, 0 nays, and Mr. Grove being currently out of the chambers. Item 11, ordinance approving Civic Source to publicly advertise and auction the educated property located at Bayou Lane, Thibodaux, Louisiana, 70301, assessment number 0020542. Due to non-payment of ad valorem property taxes, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Moved by, can someone move for Mr. Grove? Moved by Mr. Melvin, second by Mr. Wendell, on behalf of the administration. Anyone from the public like to comment on item number 11? Second call, public, ordinance number 11. Last and final call for public, ordinance number 11. Anyone from the council like to discuss? There be none. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 8 yeas, 0 nays, and Mr. Grove being out of chambers. Item 12, ordinance amending ordinance number 6441 that approved a non-warranty cash sale agreement for property adjudicated to Lafourche Parish government located at 126 West 80th Street, Cutoff, Louisiana, 70345, assessment number 8101790810, for a minimum amount of $4,000 and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said cash sale and any all relevant documents. Moved by Ms. Chesson for the administration, second by Mr. Jones. Would anyone from the public like to comment on ordinance number 12? Anyone from the public, ordinance number 12? Last and final call for input from the public on ordinance number 12. Anyone from the council? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 8 yeas, 0 nays, and Mr. Grove being out of chambers. Item 13, ordinance amending ordinance number 6442 that approved a non-warranty cash sale agreement for property adjudicated to Lafourche Parish government located on East 96th Street, Galliano, Louisiana, 70354, assessment number 0102308010, for a minimum amount of $4,000 and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said cash sale and any all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Lorraine for the administration, second by Mr. Wendell. Anyone from the public like to comment on ordinance 13? Second call, any public comment on ordinance 13? Last and final call for the public on ordinance number 13. Anyone from the council? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 8 yeas, 0 nays, and Mr. Grove being out of chambers. Item 14, ordinance approving a lease agreement between Tarpon Heights LLC and Lafourche Parish government for a temporary storefront to serve as a South Lafourche library, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any all relevant documents. Moved by Ms. Chesson for the administration, second by Mr. Adams. Anyone from the public would like to comment on ordinance number 14? Second call, ordinance number 14. Last and final call, would anyone from the public like to comment on ordinance 14? Anyone from the council? Mr. Lorraine, you have the floor, sir.
Yeah, exactly what are we doing here? Tarpon Heights, that's the ones that own all the buildings?
Mr. President?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So they own everything except the Galliano Government Complex portion of the building. So we're going to lease a space next door until the Galliano Government Complex is open, so we can bring some library services there and some public services there.
We own the property all the way from when you enter the center of that. You own all of that property.
I know.
Not by the Burger King.
I know. We're
And
leasing
you-
a storefront next door.
Or you're leasing the store.
That's right. So you remember like where the stage and stuff
Okay.
was going back toward the El Paso at the end? We're leasing one of those little spaces.
Okay.
For the time
Because
being.
also the sewage plant is on parish property.
Yes, sir. We know.
So you can negotiate there.
Yes, sir.
So, okay, now I understand. You're not using the property in the front.
No, we're leasing one of the little
Okay.
storefronts. And then I think once, I think the Port Commission is almost done with the repairs they need for their building. So once they move back into their main complex, it's going to free up where John's office used to be in the back. And the assessor, the clerk, I think the government agencies are going to move into that building to have a presence back down there as well.
So now that you're looking at doing that, what you actually doing with Head Start?
So if we can just stay focused on the library, we can bring that up in
I'll
discussion
bring it
at
up
the
at
end
the
of
end,
the
Mr.
meeting.
Lorraine. I'll tell you.
Okay.
Yep. Good on the library part of it, Mr. Lorraine?
No, I'm good.
All right. Thank you, Mr. President, for the answers. Any further discussion on ordinance number 14? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes with 8 yeas, 0 nays, and Mr. Grove being out of chambers. I now entertain a motion to close public hearing. So moved by Mr. Lorraine, second by Mr. Wendell. All in favor signify by saying aye. Is any opposed? Motion passes 8 yeas, 0 nays, and Mr. Grove being out of chambers. Item K, proposed ordinances. Ms. Deline, can you please read those?
Proposed ordinance 15, to install a caution autistic child in area sign on St. Charles Bypass Road, Thibodaux, Louisiana, Ward 3, District 4, Parish of Lafourche, State of Louisiana. Installing the necessary caution autistic child in area sign to be placed near the address of 217 St. Charles Bypass Road, Thibodaux, Louisiana. Mr. Melvin.
Ms. Chesson, a bunch of them just
he
ran out of
walked
chambers.
Mr.
so
Araby, will you
at,
take that?
Yeah, so at 17:45, Mr. Melvin and somebody else,
Wendell.
and Mr. Wendell stepped out of chambers. Sorry, Ms. Lynn.
That's okay.
Who's taking,
Who's going to take number 15? You got it. Mr. Ote. Thank you. 16, proposed ordinance establishing a no overnight parking of boats at all wharves, no commercial vehicle parking overnight at the boat launch, boats left in the parking lot overnight prohibited, and crab traps left in the parking lot prohibited. Signs to be posted at the Leeville boat launch. Parish of Lafourche, State of Louisiana, installing the necessary signs
and providing penalties for the violations thereof. Mr. Daniel Lorraine. 17, proposed ordinance directing, 1, the replacement and reduced levy of a 5.41 mils ad valorem tax for a period of 10 years, beginning with the 2023 and ending with the year 2032, for the purpose of acquiring, constructing, improving, maintaining, operating, and/or supporting public facilities, works, and/or improvements in the parish, including equipment, furnishings, and supplies, and 2, the levy of 8.00 mils ad valorem tax in lieu of 3.34 mils ad valorem tax for a period of 10 years, beginning in the year 2023 and ending in the year 2032, for the purpose of acquiring, constructing, improving, maintaining, and operating drainage works and roads in the parish, including the acquisition, operation, and maintenance of vehicles, machinery, and equipment, and the costs of salaries related thereto. Number 18, proposed ordinance directing the levy and collection of a 0.50% sales and use tax for a period of 20 years, beginning October 1st, 2023, to be dedicated and used for the purposes of constructing, improving, and/or maintaining public roads, bridges, and drainage works in the district, and for funding the proceeds of the tax into bonds to be issued for any of the aforesaid purposes, including the refinancing outstanding debt of consolidated sales tax, District A and Road District 2. A. OTAN for administration. 19, proposed ordinance directing the levy and collection of a reduced 0.30% sales and use tax in perpetuity beginning October 1st, 2023, to be dedicated and used to pay the cost of constructing, acquiring, maintaining, and operating solid waste collection and disposal facilities and closing garbage dumps in the district, and for funding the proceeds into bonds issued for any of the aforesaid purposes. Mr. A. Otan for administration. 20, proposed ordinance directing the discontinuance of the levy and collection of a .90 mils tax on all property subject to taxation in Drainage District 1 of the Parish of Lafourche, State of Louisiana, the district for a period of 10 years, beginning with the year 2017 and ending with the year 2026, for the purpose of operating and maintaining drainage works within and for the district as approved by the voters on November 21st, 2015. A. OTAN for administration. 21, proposed ordinance directing the discontinuance of the levy and collection of a 0.5% sales and use tax and road sales tax District 2 of the Parish of Lafourche, State of Louisiana, the district for a period of 20 years, beginning January 1st, 2008, for the purpose of constructing, improving, and/or maintaining public roads, bridges, and drainage works in the district, as approved by the voters on March 31st, 2007. A. OTAN for administration. 22, proposed ordinance directing the discontinuance of the levy and collection of 1% sales and use tax and consolidated sales tax District A of the Parish of Lafourche, State of Louisiana, the district, for a period of 20 years beginning October 1st, 2007, for the purpose of constructing, improving, and maintaining public roads, bridges, and drainage works in the district as approved by the voters on March 31st, 2007. A. OTAN for administration. Proposed ordinance directing the discontinuance of the levy and collection of a 5 mils tax on all property subject to taxation in Road District Number 1 of the Parish of Lafourche, State of Louisiana, the district, for a period of 10 years beginning with the year 2019 and ending with the year 2028, for the purpose of acquiring, constructing, improving, and maintaining public roads and bridges within the district, including the necessary equipment therefore, as approved by the voters on November 18th, 2017. Mr. Otan for administration. Proposed ordinance number 24, directing the discontinuance of the levy and collection of a 4.62 mills tax on all property subject to taxation in Fifth Ward Gravity Drainage District Number 5 of the Parish of Lafourche, State of Louisiana, the district, for a period of 10 years, beginning with the year 2018 and ending with the year 2027, for the purpose of improving, maintaining, and operating the district's drainage works as approved by the voters on November 18th, 2017. Mr. Otan for administration. Number 25, proposed ordinance accepting the bid of Go Paddle for the Scenic Overlook Kayak Kiosk lease and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents. Mr. Terry Araby for administration.
Very well done, Ms. Chesson. Thank you very much. Item L, resolutions. Number 26, resolution approving an agreement between Lafourche Parish Government and Lafourche Parish School Board for the Hurricane Ida Recovery Fund and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Adams for the administration. This was deferred from the 4/11/23 LPC meeting by Mr. Wendell. So does that mean you're going to second it, Mr. Wendell? Not going to second it. Okay, can I get a second? Second by Mr. Jones. Sorry about that. Any discussion on this resolution?
Yeah,
Mr.
exactly what are we doing?
Mr. President, you want to answer this one?
So at the last meeting, you approved all the other agreements. This is that $33 million that the state set aside for the different entities in Lafourche that had hurricane damage, the school board being one of them.
It's just allowed.
So that's money that's gonna be spent, or that's money that's already spent?
Gonna be.
Could be.
Gonna be?
Could
Yeah.
be.
For certain things.
So it's got to go toward building damage, property loss, or anything that FEMA and the insurance hadn't paid yet.
That was like you gave the money to the municipalities, same thing?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Thank you, Ms. Lorraine. Mr. Wendell?
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and abstain from this. There's an obvious conflict of interest between me and the school system or school or whatever, however you define it. My belief is you should support and cooperate with those you expect support and cooperation from. So I'll just keep it civil and leave it at that.
Copy that, Mr. Wendell. Yeah, so just to restate, this is the state stepping in, offering money that FEMA didn't cover from Hurricane Ida. And this just allows them, they may use it if they can find the correct use for it. Anyway, any further discussion on this resolution? I will also have to state that at 17:53, Councilwoman Chesson stepped out of chambers. With that said, we'll move this one to a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed, say nay. Okay, so the motion is going to pass with 6 yeas, 1 abstention, that abstention being Councilman Wendell, 0 nays, 0 nays, 1 abstention, that abstention being Councilman Wendell, and 2 currently out of chambers, that being Councilwoman Chesson and Councilman Grow. We good, Ms. Carleen? All right, thank y'all. Okay, item 27, resolution requesting Louisiana Department of Transportation Development, LADOTD, to conduct a traffic study at the corner of Highway 308 and Highway 3185 due to the numerous traffic accidents and vehicle congestion in this area. Thibodaux, Louisiana, Parish Lafourche, State of Louisiana. Mr. Melvin, will you move on Mr. Grove's behalf? And second by Mr. Araby. Any discussion? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes with 7 yeas, 0 nays, and 2 out of the chambers, that being Councilwoman Chesson and Councilman Grow. Item 28, resolution reappointing 1 member to the Fire Protection District Number 1 Board. Mr. Araby for the administration. Who do you have, Mr. Araby? Mr. Gorner, can I get a second for Mr. Gorner? So moved by Mr. Adams. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes with 7 yeas, 0 nays, 2 out of the chambers, that being Councilwoman Chesson and Councilman Grow. Item 29, resolution appointing 1 member to the Recreation District Number 1 Board. Mr. Araby for administration. Who do you have, Mr. Araby? Reappointing Mr. Ricky Bro. Thank you, Mr. Harrison, for applying. Second by Mr. Lorraine. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes with 8 yeas, 0 nays, and 1 being out of chambers, that being Councilman Grow. And for the record, at 17:55, Councilwoman Chesson had stepped back in the chambers. Item 30, resolution reappointing 1 member on the Recreation District Number 2 Board. Mr. Araby for the administration. Who do you have, Mr. Araby? Can I have a second for Courtney Smith? So moved by Mr. Adams. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 8 yeas, 0 nays, and 1 out of the chambers, that being Councilman Grow. I think that's the most we've bounced around with numbers. Item 31, resolution reappointing 1 member to the Bayou Blue Fire Protection District of the parishes of Terrebonne and Lafourche Board. Mr. Wendell for the administration. Who do you have, Mr. Wendell?
We have 1 reappointment, Mr. Caleb Verdant.
Verdant, can I get a second? Second by Mr. Adams. Any discussion? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes with 9 yeas and 0 nays. For the record, Mr. Grow walked in the chambers at 17:55. Item 32, resolution approving a memorandum of agreement between Lafourche Parish Government and Louisiana Department of Health, Office of Public Health to provide an open point of dispensing site located at the Raceland Emergency Recreation and Community Center, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents. Mr. Araby will move on behalf of the administration, second by Mr. Adams. Any discussion? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas and 0 nays. Item 33, resolution approving an agreement between Lafourche Parish Tourist Commission and Lafourche Parish Government to promote the Lafourche Central Market Pavilion and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any all relevant documents. Mr. Araby for the administration. Can I get a second? Second by Mr. Wendell. Any discussion? Mr. Araby.
Only question I got, Mr. Chasson, the bookings that we have presently every year, are they gonna honor those also?
Yeah, so the stuff we have every year, the fairs,
Okay.
the Relay for Life, stuff that never changes, those are going to continue.
That's gonna be marked up in the calendar forever and a day till we don't do it anymore.
Yeah, and I think in certain cases, y'all book it like the weekend before to be able to start setting
Right.
up. All of that's still going to be taken into effect.
Right.
Cody, and I know Mr. Gray's here if you guys have any specific questions for him, but they have so much more reach and so much more marketing availability than we do. It's going to work out much better for them to handle the bookings. And then if you read the agreement, it's a 60-40 split on any rental revenue, so it gives them a greater incentive to go out there and chase bigger stuff that we could draw here to increase their revenue as well.
Yeah, well, I read all the agreement. I just had that one question to make sure that everything still stayed like it was before. Thank you.
Yeah, and I would certainly propose that we meet at some point, Cody, just to discuss this. And I will note that this agreement is only through the end of this year, so that if the council feels like it's not working, but I think it's great. There's no better group to promote our area. So with that said, any further discussion? We'll move it to a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes with 9 yeas and 0 nays. Item 34, resolution approving amendment number 2 to the agreement between Lafourche Parish Government and GIS Engineering LLC for the Grand Bayou Freshwater Reintroduction Project, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said amendment and any all relevant documents. Moved by Ms. Shessel for the administration, second by Mr. Jones. Any discussion? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas and 0 nays. Item 35, resolution approving an agreement between the Greater Lafourche Port Commission, Lafourche Parish Government, Lafourche Parish Sheriff's Office, Fire Protection District Number 3, and the Ambulance Service District Number 1 for the Louisiana Wireless Information Network Project, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any all relevant documents. Moved by Ms. Chestnut for the administration, second by Mr. Adams. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes with 9 yeas, 0 nays. Item 36, resolution approving the services of DRC Emergency Services LLC for contracted services relative to private property nuisance abatement of condemned structures to proceed with demolition and debris removal 23-094.1, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any all relevant documents. Mr. Araby can move on my behalf of the administration, second by Mr. Lorraine. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas and 0 nays. Item 37, resolution approving an agreement between Lafourche Parish Government and Earth Fiber Organics Incorporated to reimburse funding for operations, maintenance, and improvements, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Melvin for the administration, second by Mr. Jones. Discussion. Mr. Melvin, you have the floor, sir.
Yes, sir. Mr. President, I have a question on this. I read it, and I know that it's developing, number one, it's a grant from Go Mesa, so it's not costing our local taxpayers, so to speak, okay? It's taxpayer money when you look at it, but it's not local so much.
Mr. President?
Yeah,
Correct?
that's
Okay,
true. Yeah.
so I know, I've heard of using coconut fiber from coconut trees to make mats. I've seen them. I mean, they're very interesting mats, how it's all woven together. Bagasse just seems like clumps of stuff. I've heard of using it for fuel, and then it mentions doing stuff at Nichols Forum, but then we can use it for coastal restoration projects as well. Do you know, I mean, how much bagasse we're talking about? Because the contracts between now and this grinding season just this year?
No, so the contracts that Earth Fiber Organics has with the sugar mills goes into infinitum, right? This is just a year-long deal for us to help get the farm ready and get set up so they can start to, a majority of our money is going to be used for infrastructure on the farm to get the process set up.
Yeah, because the contract says till it ends
That's
this
right.
year.
Yeah,
So
they're going to be trucking, I think it's 18 trucks a day from the sugar mill for at least 6 or 8 months to haul this stuff in, and it composts mats, makes a super compost so that we can get out to the terraces, the marsh creation projects that not only we're doing, which is why we're investing in it, because we're going to get this stuff for free at the end of the day, but then we're going to use it towards some of the Louisiana Plant Initiative programs at the farm that are growing the plants also that we're going to put onto our projects as well.
okay, that's fine. Again, like I said, I know coconut fiber is like a string. I've seen mats.
Yep.
I just didn't know how you make a mat out of fluff.
Yep.
I mean, do you?
You press it.
Okay, I mean, like I said, I don't know. making sure it's
I mean, I'm
making
not an
sense.
expert on it, but
Yeah, I mean, I don't know anything that grow in that.
yeah. Once they get started out, and Dwayne's been here at the couple of council meetings. I thought he was going to be here tonight. But once they get cranked up, I mean, you guys want to tour the farm and how they do it, we'll be happy to set that stuff up. I want to go watch it as well. So
That's my
Like it
question.
just
I
to
mean, our taxpayers are going to be spending, our taxpayers are going to be putting up $250,000. And my question was, so what are we going to tangibly own? Infrastructure at the Nichols Farm is going to be owned by our citizens, or, in other words, I'm trying to see something that's tangible. So I understand that they may work on, they may do this, they may do that, but $250,000, I want to make sure that our taxpayers are getting something.
So
I
believe it
don't-
or not, none of this is taxpayer money, right? This is big
It's
oil's
Go
money.
Mason.
This
Go
is big
Mason.
oil's money coming from revenues
Go
that we
Mason.
get from the offshore.
Our
oil and gas
taxpayers'
industry.
money, right.
Well, no, it's true. I guess
Yeah.
they're buying gas. So at the end of the day, it's still our money. But the tangible asset we get at the end of the day is the manufactured bagasse at the end of it that we're not only going to use on our coastal projects, but we're going to use to help grow plants at the farm that we can dig up and then put on our coastal projects as well. That's
this-
the tangible asset. That's the benefit.
And
that
real
we're
quick,
getting.
and look, it's just, it seems like with government, it's not with the private sector and sales, among other things, everything is measured and can be proven. Okay, is this success? Is this made it? Is this good? Is this working? I don't know what, I mean, I've seen the coastal mats and I've seen them laying on the ground and big mats for coconut. Again, going forward with this, whether they press them or however they do them, will we be able to see what the end result is? Is this a measurable project to see some results?
Yeah, so you'll be able to measure not only
For the
the
tax
growth we're seeing. We have an agreement with Nichols. They have to monitor all of our coastal projects anyway, because a lot of the coastal projects we're doing are either Go Mesa or federal dollars. So we'll have some measurable outcomes from those monitorings, as well as Dr. Fontenot measuring the plant growth from this stuff that they're growing at the farm. So we'll get some tangible outcomes.
I just want to make sure we're getting something.
One of the questions I have, Archie, is you mentioned our farmers. Are our farmers going to benefit in any way, shape, or form from this, the actual farmer? I'm just trying to get a feel good on approving this, I guess.
Yeah, no, I mean, I guess the farmers who supply the sugar to the mill, and the mill gets rid of their bagasse, so it's not sitting there making a fire hazard or all the other stuff that we can just sit there and smell it all year long. We're actually going to take that bagasse, and that was the whole premise behind the xylose plant, right? Was just to get rid of the bagasse. This is just another avenue for us to
That was
dispose
my
of it.
assumption, that's what this was about, was to try to find an avenue for it. Okay, I just know being affiliated with Nichols for so many years, they get grants for research, and I was like, is this research or is this going to be real? All right. Mr. Araby.
I would think the farmers would benefit from this because we got to find something for the bagasse. I mean, they can't keep on piling in their cane field, and piling it, because sooner or later, they're not going to have no place to put it. And then what we're going to do, the farmers are going to do with the sugar cane. So I think it's, I'm not crazy about that chunk of money, but, we got to make a start somewhere. And I think in the long run, the farmers are going to benefit from it. Thank you.
And look, guys, if this was coming out of the general fund, I'd have really probably thought twice about it. But the Go Mesa revenue has to go toward coastal stuff, and we're just letting it sit at the bank anyway. So why not partner up with a university and a company who's willing to move here? This company was not an existing Lafourche Parish company, right? They came and bought an office here and brought employees here to do this project. So it's an economic development asset for us as well.
But they're not here tonight for this $250,000.
No, I thought they were going to be here, but he was here last week.
Okay, we'll move this to a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas, 0 nays. Item 38, resolution providing for canvassing the returns and declaring the result of the special election held in the parish of Lafourche, state of Louisiana, the parish on Saturday, March 25th, 2023, to authorize, I, the reduction of a 5.41 mils ad valorem tax for a period of 10 years, beginning with the year 2023 and ending with the year 2032 for the purpose of acquiring, constructing, improving, maintaining, operating, and/or supporting public facilities, works and/or improvements in the parish, including equipment, furnishings, and supplies, and 2, a 8.00 mils ad valorem tax in lieu of a 3.34 mils ad valorem tax for a period of 10 years, beginning in the year 2023 and ending in the year 2032 for the purpose of acquiring, constructing, improving, maintaining, and operating drainage works and roads in the parish, including the acquisition, operation, and maintenance of vehicles, machinery, and equipment, and the cost of salaries related thereto. And someone move on behalf of the administration. So moved by Councilwoman Chesson, second by Councilman Jones. Discussion. No discussion? We'll move this one to a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Nays, raise your hand. Mr. Lorraine. Motion passes with 8 yeas, 1 nay, that nay being Councilman Lorraine. Item 39, resolution providing for canvassing the returns and declaring the result of the special election held in Rural Sales Tax District of the Parish of Lafourche, State of Louisiana, the district on Saturday, March 25th, 2023, to authorize the levy and collection of a .50% sales and use tax for a period of 20 years commencing October 1st, 2023, to be dedicated and used for the purposes of constructing, improving, and/or maintaining public roads, bridges, and drainage works in the district, and for funding the proceeds of the tax into bonds to be issued for any of the aforesaid purposes, including refinancing outstanding debt of Consolidated Sales Tax District A and Road District Number 2. Ms. Chesson, can you move on behalf of the administration? Second by Mr. Jones. Any discussion? Mr. Lorraine.
Yeah, this is a 20-year tax, right? In 2007, I was one that proposed a 20-year tax to 227, and some of the people in this administration told me that that was way too long, 20 years, because they felt that it was wrong because they couldn't vote at the time. So now my 20 years is too long, but their 20 years is good enough. I just think if my 20 years was too long, this one should be way too long also. They forget what they say sometimes.
Mr. Melvin.
Yeah, I'm just curious. I'm sorry. I wanted to ask about 38, but I just want to, can I please ask about 38 real quick? I just want to know what exactly is that one doing?
Well, it's the same thing as 29, so I mean 39. Mr. President, this is only for canvassing returns and declaring the result of the special election. This is not doing anything else. Mr. President, you want to comment?
Thank you, Mr. Yeah, all you guys are saying is that the people voted and the propositions passed, and you have to approve their results.
Okay.
That's all you're doing. And
Just the election results.
And Mr. Chairman, I will say that
Yes.
I know Mr. Lorraine is old and maybe a little bit senile, but as far as I remember, none of this administration was here in 2007. I was actually still in college, so nobody from this administration said anything about your tax 20 years ago.
I'd debate you on that one. I'm not going to say it here, but I'll tell you after.
All right. Okay, with that said, Ms. Corleen, I'm on item 39, right?
Right.
Any further discussion? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 8 yeas, 1 nay, that nay being Councilman Lorraine. Item 40, resolution providing for canvassing the returns and declaring the result of the special election held in Sales Tax District Number 4 of the Parish of Lafourche, State of Louisiana, the district on Saturday, March 25th, 2023, to authorize the reduction of a 1.00% sales and use tax in perpetuity commencing October 1st, 2023, to be dedicated and used to pay the cost of constructing, acquiring, maintaining, and operating solid waste collection and disposal facilities and closing garbage dumps in the district, and for funding the proceeds into bonds issued for any of the aforesaid purposes. Ms. DeLand will move on behalf of the administration, second by Mr. Jones. Any discussion? Mr. Lorraine.
Yeah, I just want to say I'm going to vote for this one because I didn't like where the money came from, but it was done right. This one was done right compared to the other two.
All right, thank you, Mr. Lorraine. Any further discussion? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas and 0 nays. Item M, Parish President, Department Heads, Directors, or Managers' Reports, Presentations, and/or Updates. Item 41, Finance Representative to present the monthly financial report as required by the state agreed upon procedures for March 2023. Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You guys, like I mentioned earlier, should have received the email yesterday with the monthly financials. If you have any questions, we'll be more than happy to answer.
Very good. So everyone should have a copy of those finances, and as Mr. Lorraine said, I guess we'll really be monitoring as we get into this transition of the separate taxing districts. Item N, questions for the administration. Mr. Araby.
Mr. Dillon, can you give me an update on where we at with the Alydar pump station, please, sir?
Yes, sir. So last Friday, we received the email saying that they had the coordination with the gas company that has a gas line in the area, as well as the railroad company. So they got some traction from them. We received 95% plans 6 weeks ago, turned around in 2 weeks, and they are finishing up our comments. The last thing we had to do was meet with mechanical and electrical, and we had a conversation with them yesterday to iron out a few things. So plans should be coming to an end really soon and going out to bid very soon. I'm hoping May or June.
I hope so too, because it's been 4 years for sure.
Yeah, well, it had to be redesigned. I mean, the last time it was designed in a gas right-of-way, and we just weren't going to sign off on building a $3.5 million station in a gas right-of-way.
It just looks like it's taking a long time to get a simple pump station built.
It's definitely not simple, but yes, sir.
Mr. Melvin.
Yes, real quick, Dylan, we talked earlier real quick about the ditch paralleling supercharged behind the houses. I know the gentleman says it's full of lilies. He also had some concerns about a screen. I'm only aware of one screen, but he said he was concerned about the lilies going past us. There wasn't a screen. But also, do you know when we might be able to see a machine or something over there to remove, to do this?
So the only screen I know of is at the pump station. That was cleaned last week with inmate labor and some guys in-house. The 40-footer excavator is what we're waiting on, and it should be freed up next week. So we're hoping to get out there late next week or early the following.
Okay, and as far as, he mentioned the ditches hadn't been dug in a while. Is that a sea level issue, like the water level's a water level, or is it, can you, do those have to, when's the last time they were swept back there?
So I'm pretty sure we swept them when we pulled the lilies out a year and a half ago. I can check and verify that, but no, it's not a sea level issue because that area is all on the pump.
Okay, well, rise and fall of, south wind, yeah. Real quick, also, how many, with the cement line ditch, we're gonna, it's in-house right now, I guess, maybe backfilling still, or we're gonna use some sort of foam or something?
We're going to do the same thing we did last time with aggregate. We are believing that the roots from the old trees are continuing to rot and creating voids. So the aggregate is falling in place. We're going to continue to stack aggregate until it stops falling and packs in place.
Okay.
Flowable fill will give us an issue because there's weep holes design in it, and they're going to end up coming through the weep holes and into the ditch.
Okay, and real quick, I just want to make a general statement about garbage pickup for tree debris. I'm not knocking River Birch as far as they're picking up, and they've been, they do a pretty good job. But when it comes time for green waste, even my own yard, I watch stuff just to watch it well over a month, and I get a call. And of course, I didn't mind it so much for me because I was going to see how long it took them to get it, but it still takes calls. And again, I don't know how often they're supposed to pick it up. I just don't find it's good at picking up the green waste without getting a little prodding. So.
Yeah, I know they're a little overwhelmed right now. Everybody's doing some spring cleaning, but I can follow up and see what the lead time has been on it. We can look at our list we have.
Yes, sir. Adams.
Yeah, you're supposed to get a report on my one speed bump in the Meadows in Jack Bay. You have that report so I can get the rest of the speed bumps and stuff, sir? All right, thank you.
Mr. Group.
Yes, in regards to Layton boat launch, I appreciate y'all's response on that. It comes up, I know they probably had a cleanup in Thibodeau last weekend in Bayou and whatnot, so that's probably how I got a lot of calls. Is there any way, a garbage contractor, for them to make that a regular stop? It would be difficult for them to grab it. They'd have to physically get out of the truck to pick up garbage over there, because when we do have a can, which is not often, it's stolen pretty quick and filled up pretty quick. So can that be requested of our contractor?
Yeah, we can talk to them. It's going to be like, I don't think we do garbage collection in any boat launches because you try to put a can out there and dump it, and it ends up with everybody's stuff in it, right? People abuse the issue. I think that's why they were pulled off years and years ago.
Yeah, we've tried it several times.
Let us put our heads together. We'll try to.
Yeah, just something. Look, they put deer there. They ain't putting a deer in a garbage can. Furthermore, we have cameras there now. So, who's monitoring those cameras? If we have an instance with somebody, there's fines for dumping, illegal dumping. Does it go to the cloud? Can we pull that stuff down to review it if we find something in real time?
Yeah, so the current cameras we have up now are being monitored by the sheriff's office. We're working through, and Mitch has been working with Lieutenant Robichaud about a long-term agreement with them about how we're gonna continue to operate this as we continue to put more cameras up, and how all this is gonna work. And the real-time crime center, the sheriff is working on stuff like that. But if we took your email and sent it to John to pull any footage to see where it came from, if people did go dump it, and they can pull that file and.
So if we do get a call and it looks like it's something that was recently done, or something's broken, or we just report that to Dylan for him to
You can send
engage
it to
the
me or
sheriff's
Mitch or
department?
Dylan, and we'll send it up to the sheriff's office.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you. Do you know how long that feed lasts? How many days?
Probably 30 or 60 days. Yeah,
Okay,
it's typical. I don't know what the servers can hold, but we'll find out.
thank you.
That's a good question. Mr. Lorraine.
Yeah, I just wanted this time to give my sympathy to Mitch. His grandfather passed in the last couple of days, and I just want to send that to his grandma and his family, and y'all pray for him, And I had forgot to say it at the beginning for the prayer. That's why I'm bringing it up now. And like I said, I know it's tough, you know. And I got, Dylan, you know where we at with Jody Roos's ditch? We got 40 feet of cover that was purchased by the drainage district to replace the 40 feet that found a new home somewhere.
So I was out late last week. Troy and Hannah worked on a right-of-way. Supposedly they found it. I just need to review it and we can go from there.
Okay, there was a right-of-way given, they said, by the Schwest, but that property, the 40 Orbit Canal to the west belongs to ConocoPhillips. Used to be LL&E, but they sold to ConocoPhillips. Across the canal, it belongs to Schwest. It's two different. We're doing the canal south of that. ConocoPhillips gave us the right-of-way. That's all their property, and they kept 40 feet from the ditch. But the drainage district purchased two culverts of 40 feet by 48 inches to put in that project. And without doing that, we ain't got nothing. We dug a ditch a mile long for nothing. But if we get that put in place and get with ConocoPhillips, because they're the property owners, it's not Schwest, and I guarantee you they'll give you the right of way. And those covers were approved by the drainage district pending the right of way would be approved. Okay? And I got one for Archie. On these FEMA campers, you had FEMA campers and you had state campers, right?
Yes.
So a lot of them are being picked up right now. So I had somebody ask me, and I couldn't give them an answer. They're telling me that if they rent a FEMA camper, it would be $900 a month. I don't know if that's the right figure. I'm just saying what a guy asked me. But then they can't purchase them.
That's right.
So what's the reason for them not being able to purchase them?
So I did send you guys an email, I think it was last week. FEMA is moving. They have been charging them, I think, $50 a month. They are moving to the fair market rent side, which is going to range between $700 and $1,000, depending on what size you got. I did make the decision that we were not going to allow FEMA or the state to sell the units to the residents, because this is what's going to happen. Is you're going to have a resident in your area. So when they moved in the FEMA campers, we waived the base flood elevation requirements. We said we want housing for our people, just come put them on the ground. So what's going to happen is FEMA's not going to pay to elevate these things to the right elevation. So you're going to have a whole bunch of people in your area, Mr. Lorraine, who can't afford to elevate them, and they're going to lose them because they can't afford to elevate them. But people in Mr. Jones's district who may have them, who are at the base flood elevation or above the base flood elevation, would get to keep theirs, and that's not fair. So my determination was, let's just let them all go. Right? There are multiple programs that we can put people in to get them money to fix their houses or get another unit or whatever. Could they get a mobile home or a new trailer or whatever they need to live in? Let's do that instead of letting them purchase a FEMA unit that we know is not wind rated and is not going to sustain another hurricane.
So what would be the difference if somebody lost their house and they go out and buy a camper at a campground somewhere, a camper, and they come back and they set it up? There's no difference.
So you can't just set it up in your yard and live in it. RVs are not allowed to be lived in. Now, I'm not saying there aren't people that do it. I'm just saying that we cannot, if you came to me and said, Arch, I want to put a camper in my driveway that I'm going to live in, we are not going to give you a permit to do that because it's illegal. Now, if you bought a camper and you hot watered it into your house and jerry rigged it, I mean, eventually we're going to catch you and we're going to deal with that.
But if you got a place to put it, an empty lot or whatever, you can't stop them.
We can if they need electricity, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, that's it for me.
Thank you, Mr. Lorraine. Yeah, and I always say that it's not fair to those people that are abiding by the codes when they build something that someone next door is not going to be abiding by the codes. And my understanding still is that if there was a hurricane, those FEMA trailers are still here, they're paying rent, they still have a requirement to get the heck out of Dodge when a hurricane comes, that's
They
right?
do, and that was part of their rental agreement they signed with FEMA.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Jones?
Mr. Lafourche, two things. Can I get an update on the street lights in Marydale? Don't have to be tonight, could be tomorrow, but put that on your radar.
Yes, sir.
Second question, alert bumps on Ridgefield Road. You heard anything on that?
We are still waiting on a quote. We bug those guys about once a week, and for some reason, they had a change in ownership at that company that we deal with, and we just having trouble getting traction with them, but I will ask again.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. More questions for the administration, Bill?
No, just real quick, I just wanted to say as far as money saving, I know for years we've been talking, even past administrations, about putting cameras where they're robbing people at Lake Buff and this, that, and the other, and break-ins. I'm just telling you real quick, and I know we talk about money that the government spends, okay? It's like this endless pit. I got some deer cameras in the woods, got them at Academy, paid $125. The pictures come to my phone within a second. So if somebody tries to steal them or do something, and especially if they don't know if they're there, I put mine kind of above sight, looking down. It's $125 comes to the phone. I don't know if Robbie can be in charge of that, and he can see who's coming and going, and you could, I mean, what I'm saying is $125. I mean, it's better than we spend hundreds of thousands on monitoring and electronics and everything else. I mean, it's $125. I mean, you know, that's just a suggestion, just for one camera that comes to your phone.
Yeah, so you make a good point. However, if you want the quality to be able to pick up somebody moving fast, so what you're saying, when you start trying to catch videos of stuff, we spent $21,000 and we got almost nothing at the Recreation District 1. So if you're trying to watch multiple locations and things that are moving real fast, the clarity and that's needed by the sheriff's office is a much higher quality, I can tell you from experience.
I'll show you my pictures then.
Mr. Wendell.
Would like to wish Councilman Terry Araby a happy birthday.
He beat me to the punch.
50 years old, he looks good.
Happy
and
birthday.
also, Deputy Harry Gilliard has a
53
birthday
years
later
old.
this month. Happy birthday, buddy.
Good deal. Questions for the administration? We'll move to discussion. Item O, discussion, number 42, discussion concerning birdhouses. Mr. Lorraine, you have the floor first, sir.
Yeah, I researched this and we can't find anything of any ordinance for bird houses in the parish. And there's a resident up in the Thibodeau area, and he calls me every now and then, and we talked about it. He's having a problem. I guess his neighbor has a couple of 2 or 3 bird houses, and he has a son that's autistic, and the wife can't really handle the son. He's a big boy, and he says that where these bird cages are at, houses are at, they kind of make all over the sidewalk where he's at, and the little guy actually rolls himself in some of that stuff. And he's not asking to get rid of bird houses in the parish. He's just asking for us to maybe look into this to see if we could maybe limit it and put it in certain areas in your yard. I mean, I don't know what the answer is. I was just offering him some kind of help, and he's not for telling people not to put bird houses. You know, he's just for maybe looking into the situation and seeing if we could come up with something, if it's possible. And that's about it.
Thank you, Mr. Lorraine. Yeah, I'll comment for that student government day. One of the kids off to the side was talking to, and I tell them this every year, that they ask what engages you the most as a council member, and it's neighbor versus neighbor. People don't understand that, but it is.
Yeah.
Neighbor versus neighbor. Mr. Jones.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Daniel, you're in District 1 again, so let me shed some light on that, Daniel. I'm gonna be honest with you, nobody on the road get along with that guy, all right? It's a war between the neighbor and the grandkids, all right? But the only thing I told him, what we can do is put a no-fly zone across 485 Waverly Road. The other thing is, Archie's, we just had it on item 6. The bird's gonna be here till May 5th. Paint the first purple day, and they gone. So it's Purple Martin.
Mr. Adams.
Oh, I just have an announcement. I don't want to discuss the birdhouse.
No, that's good.
Okay,
We're in
all right,
discussion.
yeah.
Last comments.
Okay, good, yeah. So I just wanted to congratulate all 3 high schools. It's their first year in esports, and all 3 high schools made the playoffs in Louisiana State playoffs. All of them made it in Rocket League. So I just want to congratulate all 3 high schools on there making it to the playoffs.
Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a couple of closing things. One, Daniel, we got off subject on the item, and the chairman was right. The Galena Government Complex, we did bid out the roof. We're waiting on the materials for that building and this building. We hope to see some work starting in June, so the roof will be done during the summer. My hope is that we have enough interior work done that we can have the elections there in October, and we're not still mismatched everywhere else. So we're going to continue pushing on that. The DA's office building is close to having the roof started. They brought in their forklift, I think, last week. They're waiting on the slate to arrive, and we continue to work with the architects on all the other buildings. Mitch and I had a meeting on Monday working through the priority issues, the morgue being the next one that Andy and those guys are going to focus on, because we want to get that building done, because we're looking at the improvements to the rec or the rodeo arena and stuff behind it. So hopefully we can conglomerate all of that at one. Just so the public knows, we have a commodity distribution on Thursday in South Lafourche in the parking lot of the Galliano Government Complex from 9 until everything runs out. Our household hazardous waste collection day is Saturday from 8 a.m. to noon right out front here in the Matthews Government Complex. So if you have any batteries, stains, oils, paint, tires, up to 5 per person, we will take all of that from you on Saturday and get it disposed of in the proper manner. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, Mitch, you had something you want to add?
I just want to thank all the council members for the condolences for the loss of my grandfather, and all the colleagues here and the support that they've put out to me and the family.
Excellent. Mr. Lorraine?
Yeah, Archie, I know you're talking about Solid Food Library. You got anything on Golden Meadow?
So
I'm not trying to be greedy. I got destroyed.
No, there was a library board meeting last night, and we brought that up. They had requested myself and the library director to go to the Golden Town Council meeting on Monday, so we'll be down there. The biggest issue is we, in theory, have no money, right? The insurance, you guys agreed to pursue litigation against that. So while the building committee of the library system is still trying to figure out what to put down there, nobody really wants to move on anything until we figure out what's going to happen with the insurance. But we're still talking about it.
We got the LaRose Library, but it's not the largest one, and it's 15 miles north of the students in Golden Meadow.
And hopefully, because you guys approved that lease tonight, which I'm going to hopefully sign later this week or early next week, we can get that storefront moved up into the Galliana and give them some more access to stuff.
Okay, thank you.
Quick
Mr. Melvin?
Yes, Fireman's Fair is going to be not this weekend, but next, starting on Thursday. So come out and have a good time at the Fireman's Fair, not this weekend, but next in Thibodeau. Thank you.
Mr. Araby?
On the hazardous cleanup, Archie, are they taking like televisions and things also?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, electronics, computers, hard drives, solvents, paint, weed killer, anything that
I had
you
some
can't put
calls
in the
about
garbage can.
television, so I want to make sure. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yep, batteries, tires,
Up to 5 per person.
Yep.
5,
Yep.
yes, sir.
And it's amnesty. You just show up and it's taken off your hands. Mr. Wendell?
This Saturday at the Welcome Center under the Raceland overpass, the Trojan Athletic Association is having their crawfish boil-off in the afternoon, evening, to support their sporting program. So come out and support a good cause.
Very good. Mr. Grove?
Can a farmer bring 5 tractor tires?
Can't be commercial.
All right.
Yeah, they have to pay. We had one guy that showed up over here. We had like 100 tires. He has a tire place, and he tried to get the parish to take them. You had something else, follow up?
And Jake just reminded Blessing of the Fleet on Saturday down the bay in Golden Meadow. So if you go out, support those great shrimpers and those boats.
Very good. I thank Jim for mentioning one of the items I had. I'll also mention May 6th, VFW Post 3665 is having their annual crawfish ball in downtown Raceland. I want to thank everyone that participated. The parish president was our auctioneer for another successful festival this past weekend at the pavilion right here, La Fête du Mont. Many nonprofit organizations benefited from that festival. I want to thank, matter of fact, Jim was there all weekend. Terry was there volunteering. So
Harry was there, and it's his birthday later this month.
that's right, sure was. Anyway, I want to thank the community for coming out, and all the sponsors that helped to make such a successful weekend that actually puts money right back into our community for some really good programs. Last thing I do want to comment on is, it was mentioned a little bit, is the annual Bayou Lafourche cleanup occurred this past Saturday. And I'm truly grateful to all the volunteers that hit the bayou to pull all the tons and tons of trash. I know we had 2 dumpsters in our area, and I'm thankful because it's been a family affair for us since day one. Not only my immediate family, but extended family and friends, et cetera. So another very successful. We pulled many boats and tires and trash out the bayou. And I am convinced, I'll always be convinced, that this is not people intentionally dumping. Just a lot of stuff just ends up in the bayou from wind, et cetera. So thank you to everyone that participated in getting Bayou Lafourche, who were named after cleanup this past weekend. With that said, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment. So moved by Councilwoman Chesson, second by Councilman Jones, that we will adjourn at 18:30 hours for this Lafourche Parish Council meeting of April 25th, 2023. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes with 9